So, starting on DOM and jQuery, and this is really great for me because I have not touched DOM and jQuery since my cohort did it. So I'm super excited to be able to do this breakout with you guys. And so the main goals, I don't have the objectives up here, but the main goals are our objectives that you can find in the mastery tracker, which we will go right here to see. I basically would like for you to be able to be able to select elements using both the DOM, both DOM manipulation and jQuery. And then I would also like for you to be able to create elements or manipulate them, and especially in the case of event listeners, because when you do your personal site, or your, not your personal site, your quarter one project, event listeners are going to be kind of handy. So let's zoom in on this. Whoop. Yeah, so the first success criteria is one of my main goals here. It includes event handlers for clicks, key events, submit events. Mainly, we want to focus on submit events and clicks. We are going to create and append DOM elements today. We're not going to worry about this for now. Let's see, we can definitely do this. Yeah, and we'll definitely put our script tags at the bottom. And this kind of applies, same ideas for jQuery. All right, so there's this huge definition of the DOM. I personally only like one sentence out of this. So take a minute, read through it, and then I'm going to talk to you about it. Okay, so my favorite sentence of this is the last one. It connects web pages to scripts or programming languages. So I love the idea of thinking of it as a tree, thinking of it as a representation of the document, because that's exactly what it is, document object model. But really when it comes down to it, it connects web pages to scripts or programming languages. It's the way we put what we're doing in the code onto the browser, right? So take a second. You're welcome to Google, since you have your computers open. I want you to come up with your own definition. This is similar to what we did that first day we went over it, but try to do it in like as few words as possible. I think that makes it easiest to understand. All right, I'd love to hear from everybody. If mine is, yeah, you've heard mine.
Yeah. So basically, the way I like to think it's basically the stage or platform built from the HTML document for both, the code and user to interact.
Yep. Okay. Let's hear it.
And I just kind of said it's used to kind of traverse the guts of a web page.
Oh, I like the word guts of a web page. That phrase, great. Yes.
Yeah, so like the UI is the bridge between the user and the under the engine. This is like the bridge between the HTML and the XML.
Yeah, I like that idea. It's like if the UI is us to the app, then this is the code to the browser. That's cool, definitely. I love it all. Thank you. So you've probably already done a few of these exercises, but I want to really dig into exactly what's happening on each of these code lines, and then we're going to work together to do this to the web page that I had with the Futurama text. So the first one is selecting. And when you type in your Atom document.get, it's going to come up with a ton of options. You can get element by a class, get element by ID, get element by blah, 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 blah. And that's all in the doc. So if you're interested in selecting something by something specific, just type it into Google, get element by, and then it'll give you your options. Mine is foo right now. That's just the example. So like if I had a div named foo, it would, and I assigned that to a variable, and then logged that variable, I would get that particular element in my log. Wow, I don't know why it keeps blinking on the screen, but that's okay. So we kind of need to be selecting by elements whenever we're manipulating, period. I don't know, maybe it's a connected thing. But so manipulating on this line here, I'll use my thing so I'm not pointing. So we declare a variable called new div, and we are just selecting, or we're creating an element. It's very similar to get element by ID, but we're creating an element and giving it the tag name, and it's going to do the carrots by itself. Then I'm making a new variable, and I like to do everything in variables. Makes it easier for me to understand. It's shorter to write after if I want to do multiple things. Create a new variable called content. So in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, this is the content for my new div. I create a text node. And this is something that I found in the docs to basically append text into my new div. And so on here, it's the same idea, selecting the whole document, or saying whole document, create a new text node, and oops, come back thingy. There we go. And I'm putting the text in there that I want. It's just a string that says hi there and greetings. I'm not doing the actual appending yet, because down here, using my variable names, I'm going to do the appending. So var new div is this created element right here. And then to that element, I'm going to append a new child, and it's the content that I just created. So there's a lot going on here. It's basically 3 different things. Creating the div, creating the content, and then actually putting the content into the div. We'll see how this works in a second. Another option would be to select an element. So I have a div that has an ID of 1 right here, and I want to insert basically a new div right next to it, or right under it, or right above it. We'll see which one it does when we actually run this. I'm going to give it this foo is, I believe it's actually pretty sure that's just the string we're putting in there. We'll have to double check that. I kind of forget which one that is. But then we're creating this new div, ID 1.1, and it's just going to like insert this HTML nearby the element with ID 1. Then we can also, there's plenty we can do with both jQuery and DOM manipulation. So this one is we're selecting an element by ID of foo, which is just my placeholder ID. And then we are adding a class to, it's like the CSS and bold. And we're going to see this in action in just a second. But you could change anything, like add purple or like italics or whatever your options are. You'd have to Google what your options are. So let me make sure that we want to do this. Yes. So let's go ahead and get to our code. I have that one big one copied, this main one, so that we don't have to type it out, so we can see what it's actually doing. So our actual web page hanging out here is just our Futurama text. And this is broken up into 2 divs. So when I make it smaller, you can kind of see where the divs are. This guy right here, we don't have to do anything to the text because this is just, or to the JS document, this is just vanilla JavaScript. When you hear DOM manipulation or vanilla JavaScript, this is what we're talking about. So basically what's happening is this. Up here, I am saying, when the document object model is ready, do this function. So the moment it loads, do this function. You can find this syntax on the MDM Mozilla Network. And then I'm basically saying add element, which is a function I declared down here. In my function, I've got that code we just walked through. 2 of them, actually. So let's wait for that one. In fact, I don't even think we really want to see that one right now. We just want to see this one. That code we walked through where I created a variable where I am creating a new div. And then I declared a new variable where I created the content. And it's just a string that says hi there and greetings. And then I'm literally saying to that new div, append this new content thing, which is this text. So when I refresh my HTML page, because when the DOM loads, it's going to run this function, all of this should happen. And just to double check that we're all connected, this is for debugging, I always console log something to know that my JS is connected. I always console log something to know that my function is actually being read. So let's go here. I'm going to get out of here so that we can actually see what's happening. It should append, let's see, if I'm selecting or I'm creating div, I have a feeling it's going to append in the beginning, but let's see. Refresh. Did it do it? Let's make sure we're all connected. So in our console, we're getting hey, we're getting the function, but I'm not seeing the text, right? Unless you guys are. Nope, me neither. So let's see how to debug this. So if your thing is not working, you've got a couple of options. Our function is getting called, so I know it's not the function. It could be that I have not done one of these right. Do you see any bugs?
No,
Mistypings, anything?
right now the main thing I see for the new div, I see it being declared, but
Yeah.
I see where
We're actually using it.
yeah.
So I imagine it's this guy. Let's see.
Oh, hold on, yeah, new div dot finish on new content. Okay, so document dot create element div. New
So,
content.
yeah,
equals
basically,
document dot create text.
This line at the bottom is document.create element div and then dot create text node all together.
Spelled out. I don't know if that matters.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
This one? Oh, that's
Yeah, it
okay. As long as it
matters.
does. It definitely does. Let's see. Maybe it's running. Maybe I deleted something earlier. Let's see. I solved this problem earlier. Okay. Well, maybe I didn't. Oh, you know what? I said we didn't need this code. We absolutely do. Because, you're right, we didn't insert the div. So we did need this code. I just deleted it. I was not paying attention. So we have to select some place to actually put the new div, and this is what that's doing. So we're selecting div 1, and let's make sure that I've got a div 1 in here somewhere. Yeah, I do. Yay, look.
Nope.
Div 1. And so we're going to document.body insert before new div and on top of the current div. So this is basically, we could do this instead if you wanted, you know. Instead of this variable, that's what we're doing.
Okay.
So now it should work. Yay! There it is. So once again, basically what we were missing before is we weren't, exactly what you said, Sean, we weren't putting the new div anywhere, which we have to do. Otherwise, it's not going to do anything. Yay. For me, jQuery is a lot easier, but it's nice to know what's actually going on under the hood. So let's dig into jQuery. Here is the actual description of jQuery from the jQuery site. I have a very simple, like, one-phrase definition, so please formulate that into a one-phrase definition. That's what I would do. Everybody else? You're welcome to say the same thing.
What did you say?
JavaScript library?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to, my slang term for it is coding like the pilgrims. Because when you, in a couple of months, when you're onto Angular, jQuery is just like, it's just going to be like your natural language.
Yeah.
Just like the pilgrims would have done, you know? I don't know why, that's just how I think about it. Right, exactly. Okay, so these are the same exact things that we were doing with the DOM, but now it's in jQuery. So, oh geez, that's not what I wanted. So if I go back here, it's literally the same thing. We're creating an element, putting in text, getting an element by ID, inserting adjacent HTML, and then getting element ID and adding a new class. Same thing, but in jQuery. And to me, it's so much shorter, easier to type. I am all about economy of motion, so this is fantastic. We are selecting the element with the ID of foo, this little octothorpe hashtag #. That is our ID thing. You can select by class or name, as you guys have probably started doing. This one is the create. So we're selecting an element to like append to, and it's the element with the ID of foo, and then we're appending a whole div with hello world. So this is the same idea as what we just did with the DOM, only instead of using a ton of variables to hold things, we're literally just right there. And this is normal syntax, putting the string with the tags in there, because when it goes, when it appends, it's going to append to the HTML, not to like, it's not going to append it as a string to what you're seeing in the browser. And we'll see that in a second. Same with right here. This is appending after. But check it out, they're using single quotes here because they've got double quotes as the ID in here. And we'll test both of these. And then this is adding a CSS class. Same as the other.
Quick question
Yes.
on that one. So basically under the next one, you're adding after the div ID. So basically, is that a way like you could really be creating a new div with a new ID?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So you could do that with class. So
Well, I guess it would have to be a new ID anyways, because it's usually IDs.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you could.
So do that with IDs class as well.
Mhm.
Okay. Good, because that was like on one of the assessments or exercises, I was grumbling and scaring the dog, trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's like my brain doesn't think about doing that. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's super handy, especially when you already have classes declared in your CSS that you could use, and you want to use that so that it's like got the same style. Just pop that class in there. It'll append it. Apply the class. It's fantastic.
Can I do this now for a sec?
Yes,
What do you at? Are append and after not the same thing, or does append go before?
I'm pretty sure append goes before.
Okay.
I mean, we can test it though.
So what you're actually doing is you're finding foo
Mhm.
and putting in front of it hello world.
Yes.
correct? And then you're finding foo and putting 1.1 after it.
Yes.
And then you're finding foo and making it bold.
And we'll do all of these.
I think I think a pin does come out, but I think does a pin go on the bottom and a pin goes like after those things?
I can't remember. I'd have to. We'll test it.
We'll play around.
So yeah. So we have to do one thing special with our JS file to use jQuery. Actually, we have to do several things. But what do we have to do for our JS?
Or question mark? Something?
Not a question
The
mark.
dollar sign or the
We do need $signs, but before we can do any of that,
oh, you're talking about the document dot ready.
Yes.
So dollar sign and parentheses document and dot ready.
exactly. So all of our code has to go in a document.ready function, or it won't run. It's the same idea as the function that I did on the DOM manipulation, where it's like on load, run this function, but it's just going to do everything. So you're welcome to Google. I have to Google most of the time. I literally just type document.ready. It knows what I'm talking about. I can type that in. So I want the $sign, oops, if I can spell document. I'm selecting the whole document basically, .ready, and when it's ready, do this stuff. Okay? I'm sure that there's a way to, maybe you can just type document. No, but, so.
Yeah, that's right.
Tried with that. There's always a way, but I just don't always know which one. So then I always console log something to know that it's working, but it won't work because I have not done something in the HTML.
In the HTML.
Yeah, any ideas?
Oh yeah, you haven't linked up jQuery yet.
Yes, I've linked up to my actual JS file, but
You
not
need to link up to the jQuery library.
exactly. And so if you see, for debugging, if you see the error $sign not defined, that means for some reason your library is not linked up. CDF. Cool. Here we go. Wow, it's really running really, really slow. Oh, geez.
So this is
What is the difference under the where it has like the uncompressed?
Yeah, so uncompressed is going to be like if if you were to actually open the file, it'd just be like all written out, and you could just scroll for days. Minified is like all the spaces are removed, and so it's much smaller. And then I figure Slim is another even smaller version, and then it gets smaller from there. I've never bothered the actual file, so I
just
almost
use
always,
compressed link so far. So
I almost always do. So there we go. Let's make sure that it's connected up. Uncaught syntax error. So I have this. Let's see. Where was it? JS1. Well,
let's see. Under that for it to work, it's I don't know if it has to, but I think after the ready and then the parentheses, you put in function. That's what
oh
I meant.
yes. Is it ready function? Or
No, ready and then in parentheses there function.
yes.
And then your whole and then
Yes.
our
Nice. And then our code goes in there. Exactly. Debugging. Woo. Ooh, it's still angry.
Hold on, go back. So function. So yeah, you need your parentheses after function.
There's that other random parentheses down at the bottom.
Oh, that one, yeah, that one will go to. So we've got basically, what we've got in here is a function called ready, and then we're calling another function in there, and that should work. Hooray!
Yeah.
This is working. Awesome. Great job, guys. Cool. So let's get in here. I am going to select one of these divs. This one, ID foo, right? Because that's what we've got in this guy. So if I just select var thingy equals this, and then I'm going to log thingy just for speed. I would normally choose a better word. We should get that div. Yes, div with the ID of foo. It's got all of this information, right? If we wanted to select the text, we would do like inner HTML or whatever. But we don't need to do that right now. Cool, so we're selecting that. Then let's see. To append, let's see I think we were unsure whether append is going to go above or below, but let's find out. It should just gift us a div with hello world. So let's see. Cool, let's try. Yay! It looks like it went underneath.
Yeah.
So let's see what the difference is between after and this.
Yeah.
So we'll just do both. But, oops, in here, I'm going to put different text so that we can see. So, like, in here, we'll see. Okay, cool. I don't have any idea. Went right beneath it, too. So I don't really understand what the difference is. Append verse after jQuery. Let's see. Looks like it's pretty much the same.
Data content inside an element at last index means you put the content inside an element that can be content its child, specified by the parameter at the end of the element. Whereas after this function, okay, so append basically makes it a child
Yes.
of that, and after just puts it basically
Right after.
Right after. Okay.
So that's good to know. It's going to look visually the same, but if you wanted to later us like children, I guess you'd want to use
So
one or the
yeah,
other.
so if you wanted something that might apply, like, or yeah, if you're doing like one of those, like an event that bubbles up, and
Yes.
you want to use a pin.
Exactly. Cool. That's good to know. And then let's see what else we've got. And then add a class. So I'm thinking we're going to need a class, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. I don't think it will just bold, but maybe. Who knows? I like to experiment. No. So let's add a class in our CSS called bold. And we'll make, instead of making the text bold, let's make the color orange.
Yeah.
Sure. So we can name the this class anything that we wanted. So I'll just name it.
Okay, so bold wasn't a command; it was just a generic name.
Yeah, because it's going to be adding a class.
Yeah, so basically we've gone into CSS, we've created that class, and we're just going to go ahead and add whatever qualities are in that class to.
So
The action is color.
Yeah, the reason why you'd want to do this is for like event listeners. If they press a button and you want text to change color, or they open a div, or they open like a select something and you want to change the color when they're like hovering over it or something, or I don't know, any reason you'd want to change the color dynamically, meaning while the user is like using the page, this would be a good thing to add after like in an event listener, because otherwise you'd just literally type the class on here, right?
Okay.
Class equals orange if you didn't want it to be dynamic.
Hmm.
So the real use case of this is to make it dynamic, and let's see if it actually works. It still doesn't want to work. Are we not selecting the right one? Oh, it says that it's getting the class. Let's see. Oh, it has the class color. Oh, you know what? This is my fault. I didn't change the word here. I changed it everywhere else.
Yeah, that's where I got confused. I'm like, oh,
Wait a minute. There! Hooray! Yeah, cool. So you can do that with tons of different things. Anything you can put in a class in a CSS, you can change.
Can you go back to the JavaScript file
Yes.
on that real quick?
Oops, there we go. Yeah.
All right, so this is it. So right now we're looking for the ID with food, and then we're adding on to basically. So right now we're not adding a class to an ID. We're just going to finding something that has that ID, and then we're also adding on that same element a class.
Exactly.
With the color.
And you can see in here, it has the class color now, right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though it wasn't there before.
Can you?
Yeah.
Sorry, go back
Sure, definitely.
and show me where you define foo as that first paragraph.
Yeah, definitely. So I do it in the HTML. Right here. Yeah.
So that's the great thing about the jQuery is basically when you put in that
Foo.
in the quotation marks and then the hashtag foo, basically that's going doing the same thing as document.get
Yeah.
element by ID.
So if I make like a p tag with nonsense in it and give it the same ID, I think it might select the first ID, but it might do both as well. No,
Yeah.
it's like just the
It
first
only,
ID.
Oh, no, it didn't.
Oh, did it?
Oh, no, it didn't. Okay,
It didn't
I was seeing
change.
Hello world, I was thinking it.
Yeah, it didn't change the color, but if you could select by class, and then you could target all of those together, which is pretty awesome. But I would need to change the JavaScript
Yeah,
to .foo, and that's just a syntax thing you'd have to memorize. So yeah,
There we go.
now it's orange. So that's like, yeah, that's the real power of it, is just being able to select so many things, change things dynamically. So of course, my goal right now is just to help everybody. I'm like trying to help everybody prepare for the project and just kind of know what, like, you don't need to know all of this for the project, just some, and just get you started so that you can make a good plan on Friday for what you want to do in the week. So we already did the coding together, which is great. But
Just clarification on vanilla JS. What is vanilla JS versus just JavaScript? I've heard that term, but I haven't.
Vanilla JS is JavaScript.
yeah,
It's okay, just
they're the same. We call it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we just call it vanilla JavaScript to kind of differentiate it between that and jQuery.
Exactly. Yeah, so we defined the DOM, we defined jQuery. Basically, jQuery is just, you can take it or leave it. I think it's personally much easier. And in fact, after I learned the DOM, I like erased all that information from my memory and just focused on jQuery. It's nice to know now how things are working, but jQuery is the name of the game. So we already coded together. We kind of saw the differences there. But what I would love for you to do is just Google about an event listener. Take some time, wrestle with it. We only have a couple of minutes, and then we're going to code one together because event listeners are really where the big power is. We're just going to do a button click one. So Google for a minute. Event listeners in jQuery or vanilla JavaScript or both. It's up to you. this with you guys. Okay, let's do a quick code, even if you're not done yet, because you can work on this in a couple of minutes when you have personalized learning time, which we'll have a lot of today, although I think we are going to do a cool breakout on APIs, which I highly suggest everybody to go to. So all I did was in my HTML, I put in a button, and right now it doesn't do anything. You can just click it forever. What I want to do is, in this, we don't need all of this because we're not doing that. I copied this, but I don't want to do that. I would like for you guys to help me write one out. I'll definitely start out with the $sign because that's like, hey, we're using jQuery. Then we need to select the button. So it has the name of button. You want to give it an ID, or do we want to give it a class?
I would say we could probably give it an ID.
Definitely. I think that's nice because then we select specifically it. We'll just call it button 1. Cool. So then how do I select it here?
In quotation marks, hashtag button 1.
Exactly. And then I know from just reading the jQuery docs just now that there's an on click, but let's just use click for today. You can read the difference between them. And that's a function, so I'm going to do that. So I wonder, is there anything I need to pass in here?
Parameter of some sort.
We might need to. Let's see, did they? Just the function. Cool. Function, and then good catch. Then we have the function, but this parentheses is not closed because I just erased that on accident. So that looks right. And then all I want to do is console log something. I was clicked. So let's see if that actually does it. Theoretically, when I click the button that I selected by the ID button 1, and it is listening for a click, it should log this. Let's see. I might have not typed that right. Let's see. Yay! And that's as simple as that. So the way you'll want to think about this and try to wrap your brain around is usually there's going to be some sort of event listener in your project that when you click it, it makes an API call. So in the future, when you're watching the Ajax videos or practicing your Ajax stuff later on in this week, think about how you would add the Ajax stuff in here in this function, because that's probably what's going to happen. It might not be what happens. You might do it on the load, but I did on my project, and I think most other people did. So you don't have to do it right now. Just be thinking about it. Any questions? Anything that I can help with? Or do you just want to go work on stuff? I know it's a lot. Don't worry. If you're like...
no, it's not a lot.
Okay.
Just like bouncing back and forth, like
right?
where to put stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, go back one. You did take this, right?
I did, yes. And to be completely honest, the way I learn is I literally just experiment. What'll this do? Boom. Or, hey, I broke everything. I guess I'll just Command Z a bunch of times and go back to where I was. Yeah, because the cool thing is, like, any mistakes you make are not permanent mistakes, so you're welcome to just mess around. And yeah, a lot of the problems, too, if you're in the exercises and you're like, I'm not getting the information that I want, be checking for if it's an array or just a regular old object, because sometimes all we need is a index number in there to select something. Or not on selecting this, but like when we're actually in objects, things like that. Yeah. But API API breakout this afternoon, I think will be really great as well,
Okay.
if you're interested. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys
Thank
work.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Alright.